I mean, we came from Iowa. We came from Iowa. 4 hours.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
We love you. We love you.
Now seating for Empty Theater Club.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Empty Theater Club, a podcast for those who enjoy watching the Cardinals vaping fan cams from Conclave. I'm Val.
And I'm Cam. Welcome back. We have an exciting episode today for our three fans who have been eager for more A Complete Unknown reactions and thoughts. We have
you're about to get them.
Yeah.
Mama, A Complete Unknown, ACU by ETC thoughts ahead of you.
Yes. By the time this episode comes out, the embargo will be up, so I won't feel bad talking about it. But I had the privilege of watching A Complete Unknown last Thursday and reviewing it, and also got to meet Mr. Timothee Chalamet.
Reunion Midwest.
United.
Well, ETC viewers might recognize Nicholas from our Instagram stories whenever Cam was driving up to meet Timmy. So he was the PA assistant.
Yes, well, very big deal.
Nicholas and I were privileged to go to Minneapolis, which is a 4-hour drive from us in Iowa, not to dox ourselves, one way, and then 4-hour drives back. And we got to meet Timothée and watch A Complete Unknown. So story time. Thought we'd talk about that. Yeah, Val, you already kind of know. Should we just walk through everything?
I think story time starts with the moment we found out, the text of or the moment we found out that they were doing that press tour.
Yeah.
The Q&A, because that's kind of where it all started.
I think we found out Wednesday that Timothée has decided to do these Q&As at college campuses. Obviously, Bob Dylan's from Minnesota, so it makes sense that Minneapolis is kind of the first one that he's doing. And I sent it to everybody, including Val and Nick and all of our friends, and was like, do I go up? Do we go to Minneapolis for this? At the time, the screening was only available for press. If you didn't have accreditation, you could not get into the screening. So even going up, we were knowing that we would not get to see the movie. It would just be for the off chance of seeing Timothée walk into the theater. So Nick was like, no, you don't want to go because you couldn't see the movie. Yeah.
Mainly it was also we don't even guarantee that we'll see Timmy. We could just
because it's not if it's a Q&A, then you'd have questions.
Yeah.
Val was the only one who supported the idea of that. So
from the get-go, I said drive up.
Yeah.
I knew there's just something. There was some energy where it was giving Minnesota's first. Come on, there's something there.
To be fair, I always feel like I want to do crazy things like this, though. When he was spotted in Duluth, I was like, well, let's drive to Duluth. So sometimes it's hard for me to step back from the situation and realize, am I being psycho?
Yeah.
Or can I actually do this? So I was like, okay, I won't go. Nick's not gonna, I don't want to go out by myself. I'm not gonna. If Nick would have came with me, then I'm like, okay, it's a fun thing. I'm not gonna go.
Exactly.
And I woke up Thursday morning and I said, fuck that. I'm going. I don't care. I'll call in sick to work. It's worth it. Because my theory was, if nothing happens, then I'm not down a loss. But if something happens, amazing. It was a really nice day too. So I was like, let's just go. I mean, it was really cold out, but it was sunny out. So I was like, it's a nice day for a drive. I'll listen to my music and my podcast and we'll have fun. So I called Nick at noon and I was like, you sure you don't want to go? What did I even say to convince you? I just was like, I'm going and come with. What made you go? You just didn't want to get FOMO?
I think you were
that thing of
we don't get this opportunity all the time. You know what I mean? We live in Iowa.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to go. I was just last minute stuff stresses me out. Even though I'm not a planner, it's still I want to go to bed knowing what's going on the next day. So
when you have your dog, but the thing was too is I was the one who was going to drive. I offered to pay for your meal and you said yeah. So we left later than I would have liked because I was planning on getting there early to scope out the city, but I think it worked out fine still.
I had to do work stuff.
Yeah.
So
and you had your dog you had to get rid of.
I had to have a sitter for the dog.
Yeah. So we left at 2, got literally at the theater at like 6:15, like parked and got outside it, and it was packed. It was crazy busy. I'll put like photos and stuff in.
Well, before you say that, I think you need to talk about the phone call. Because one of the reasons you guys said let's go is when you called the movie theater.
I did. That's so true.
Yeah. So go back a little bit.
That's true. Before I even invited Nick, I wanted to make sure if I got up there that the theater was gonna allow for crowds outside it, because otherwise I was like, if I get up there and like they sneak him in, it's not like worth it at all, because we're definitely not gonna see him then. So I called the theater and at like 11 in the morning, and I was like, hey, I know you guys have like a private screening. I was very reluctant to say Timothée because I thought that would like out me. I was like, I know you guys have a private screening tonight and there's going to be a celebrity in attendance, like Timothee Chalamet. I just was wondering if you guys were prepared to have a crowd outside, because I know that might like block your business, and I just didn't know like what you guys were going to do. And the guy was like, oh, good question. Let me get back to you. So he like put me on hold. Like he like was not expecting this at all, and came back and was like, yeah, that's a good point. We hadn't thought of that. We are gonna let people stand outside. But you know, we are a really small theater. Like he was just like, yeah, it's fine, but like who knows? Like
so essentially Cam gave them a logistics plan for a step and repeat calm,
and they needed it. They needed it because it was so packed. And like when we obviously there were police there outside it, and they had like staff outside it, but I'm just like, how were you not prepared for this at all? Like it was the most, like you said, Midwestern thing ever. It was hilarious. But I told him I was driving 4 hours, so he was like, wow, you're like a really big fan. And I was like, yeah.
Well, yes, you said the fan actually.
Well, I was like, I'm not driving if I can't. So then when we got there, it was really busy. I feel like I told Val this. I feel like a lot of the people there were not huge fans. I think there were some who were Chalamet fans.
They were.
There was one girl who had met him at Beautiful Boy, but like a lot of them were just like, oh, like there's just like, I know who Timothée is, like.
And it was like a 5-minute walk from their campus.
Yeah, it was like,
how'd you figure that out? Like, were you guys chatting with people?
We were just talking to people. Yeah, we were just talking to people near us. I had like a sign that said I drove 4 hours, and people were like asking what was on the sign. And then that's when people would be like, oh my God, I can't believe you drove this far. Like I live 10 minutes away, and I couldn't even convince my friend to come. But a lot of them were college kids, because you were right on campus basically. And they just like saw him either like earlier in the day or missed him, and were like, I'll just show up and like see what happens. So that kind of annoyed me though, because I'm like, get the fuck out of here if you're not like a real fan. Like,
yeah, move.
Yeah, like they were there for like clout, so that like kind of pissed me off. But it's fine. So they were Timothée maybe arrived at like 6:45 p.m. The screening started at 6:30. So
he was making his way around town.
Yeah, he was so cute. He posted like an Insta story, like, I'm so sleepy. But there was like, before he got there, like people were trying to be like, my thing was usually how these works, the Q&A is at the end of the film, because you watch the film and then you ask questions. So we were thinking, okay, he probably won't show up until the movie's almost done. So a lot of people were trying to be like, is he coming right at 6:30 or not? So then he got there later, and then like that was fun, it was like crazy. It was a lot. I saw him, but we were really far back. We didn't get to like
clear in the back.
Clear in the back, yeah. So then the crowd cleared out a lot then, because clearly people were like, didn't really care. So they were like, bye. There was maybe like how many would you say, like 20 of us who like stuck around? There were fans inside the lobby, and I don't know, like, so Timothée was handing out tickets to the screening during the day. And then my theory is the people who got there like really early, they let into the lobby. And those were some of the people who also got tickets to the screening. I don't know if that's true. But so kind of like the people who were definitely like not big Timothée fans, like left, I would say. And there was like, there's like a room, like when you go into a building, there's like the door, like the doors.
It's like a vestibule, right?
Vestibule?
Yeah, I remember I just got a text from you that said, like, just saw him from a distance, coming back later, because there's like there's a restaurant right next to the movie theater or so, and so I was like, okay, just go to that restaurant, and then you were like, yeah, he saw my sign, but he tried to come closer, but he couldn't, and then the next text I got like less than, I would say 5 minutes later. Like truly, it was back to back. It was, we got in to the screening. So what? And I know you got in because you asked. What do you mean because you asked? Like, what's the story?
Yeah. So after like people left, we went into the vestibule area. So like not outside, but not inside the lobby. That's where like the 20 fans went and waited. And we were just like, okay, so like, what should we do now? Like, is he gonna come? Like, is the Q&A now? And he's gonna come back out in like 15 minutes? Because if that's the case, we don't want to leave. But if he's gonna be here for the whole length of the film, like, let's go get food. We haven't ate today. We're starving. Like, go find out. So we were talking to another guy and girl who were cute. They both came from Duluth, so a little bit farther. And he served Timothée like a sandwich when he was in Duluth back when. So he had like kind of met him before.
Cute.
So we were talking to them, and Timothée was like meeting fans in the lobby, so you still could kind of see him a little bit. And it was like very electric. But then at the like, you couldn't get into the lobby without going past like a check-in table, basically. And these were definitely like Searchlight staff. It wasn't movie theater staff. Like they had like a unknown.
Okay, let's network, mamas. Come on.
Well, yeah. So I was just like, fuck it. Like, we're hungry. We don't know if we should leave or not. Like, let's just go ask the staff, because this is like the number one thing I always learn is if you're nice to staff, you like get what you want. Like, you should always talk to staff. Shout out to Marta for teaching me that. But so I went up and I was like, hey, I have a question. Is the screening now? Like, is the Q&A now or is it later? And they were like, we can't hear you. Like, come in. And I was like, I repeated it, and they were like, well, how many people are in your party? And I was like, it's just me and my friend Nick. I don't know why I name dropped you, like they knew you. But and they were like, be really chill about it, but go get your friend and come back here. But they were like, but she said like 3 different times, she was like, you have to be really chill. Like, don't make it a big deal. Be really chill. And I was like, okay, I'll just pretend that like
they're sneaking you in.
No, but I was like, okay, I'll just pretend like you're going to give him a poster. So I have to call him over. So I like just yell like, Nick, come here. And you do. And then she like, do you remember she was like pretending to give you the poster? She was like, here you go.
Very big, very big.
And then, but I mean, the one girl who I was talking to was kind of looked mean, but the one in the white jacket who gave you the poster was nice. But the girl who was like, be chill, was very intimidating looking. That's why I didn't want to go talk to them. She looks scary.
Yes.
But while I was doing this, you were talking to the people next to us, right? And like,
I don't want to call them out. I don't want to call them out, but
no, basically, hey, it's not calling them out. It's calling them in.
Okay, it's calling them in. They were very nice to me, so let me just say, hey guys,
they were nice. And maybe it's a misunderstanding.
There might be a misunderstanding, but she was very much like, Cameron was like, should I go ask them? Should I go ask them about the Q&A? She's like, go girl, you got this. Like, go do it. And then Cameron went and she like turned to her friends and was like, like a little face that's like, yeah, like good luck with that. Like very, and all we were doing, we're asking when the Q&A was. Like it wasn't, we weren't like trying to get
you're not trying to be conspicuous or anything.
But, she had a nasty little smirk that I said, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. And when the girl asked me who was in my party, I almost was gonna say 4 and give those people in, but then I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
Just Nick and me. So then like Nick comes up and the girl like pulled us over in front of like the big like red carpet kind of thingy and was like, you can go up to the screening, like number 3, like go up there, just be really chill. And I was like, oh my God.
Midwest nice.
Yeah. But we were like, we drove 4 hours, like, thank you. And then on the way up the stairs, another girl like stopped us and she was really nice. She was so happy for us. Like I remember her face when I was like, we drove 4 hours, like this is huge. She was like, oh my God, like she was so excited. And we go into the screening and it was actually kind of not that full yet, but from my experience, like with Q&As, you should always sit near the front because you like get better view. But then also if you want to take like a photo after the Q&A, like that's the best way to do it. So we moved to the front and we got these little bags, a complete unknown bag with like a
love
thing. Nick did get the poster. I didn't get the poster. That was fucked up. But anyways, he just like forgot to hand it to us. And then we got to go to the screening and maybe like 5 minutes after we sit down, 10 minutes after we sit down, I could check.
Well, wait.
Yeah.
Before this happens,
yeah,
I go to the lobby to get snacks because we haven't eaten still.
That's true.
Hours. And I go to the lobby and I'm like, can I leave and get snack? And the guy, it was like a security guard. He was like, go. He was so sweet. They were all very sweet there. But I was like, "You'll let me back in though?" He was like,
Yeah,
"Yes."
you
I was
promise?
like, "Okay." I was just so scared that
Oh,
somehow
this is
it
true.
did.
Because I texted you like, "Come back." It was about to
Yeah.
start. I could tell.
And
Yeah.
so I go and like get food and snacks and stuff like popcorn, blah blah blah. And then I hear one of the staff be like, "It's him," like what something whisper, and I was like, and I turn, and Timmy's in the lobby, and it's like kind of like blocked off for him to like easily
Mhm.
get places. It's kind of like roped off, and he
Yeah.
has like his crew with him, his like security and stuff. And one of the staff behind the counter is like, "Timmy, do you want anything, like any snacks for the movie?" And he's like, "Yeah, Milk Duds." And then the guy hands it to his security. Security grabs it and then hands it to like Timmy. And I
And
got
you got that video.
that part on film. But I felt
The
so dorky, like
liaison for
grabbing my
Milk
phone and being
Duds?
like, "What?"
That's a movie star. That's a movie star when you need a liaison for someone to hand you your Milk
Milk
Duds.
Duds, right.
Yes. Well, he was like still walking. He's like, "Yeah, Milk Duds," and then kept walking. And I was like, "Well,
Yeah.
they have to give it to you, sir. Just wait a
You have to
minute."
pay.
Like,
Come on.
Come back,
Taking
come
it for
back.
free? That's fucked up. It's a
and then
small business.
I saw that he's heading to our screening. So I'm like, "Ma'am,
Oh,
I
I
gotta
texted
go."
you and I said, Nick, you need to come because the staff was coming in and like they always
Oh,
I
no.
could tell they were I could tell it was like getting
Doors
ready.
closing.
Yeah. So I like grabbed my stuff. I don't know how I didn't like run into him because we were both there's only one entrance to
One
this
door.
theater.
Yeah.
And he came up and goes down exactly where I came up and went. So I don't know where he disappeared to,
Yeah.
but I didn't want it to seem like I'm like looking for him. So I very
Right.
much was just like, I'm going straight. I'm going to my seat. Hopefully I didn't miss him. And then
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Val was freaking out. I'm a really good person for this, by the way.
No,
Val
no,
was
friend,
like,
I'm serious. Friend of the century. Like the whole day, I was like, if you like send me all the videos, I obviously couldn't be more happy for you because, like, if it wasn't gonna be me, I'm glad it's you. Like,
yeah,
I'm happy that the real Timmy fans are there.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
one ever goes to Midwest, especially Minnesota. Like, and it obviously came out later that it was Timmy's idea, not the studio's idea to go. So I was
Which we'll
just
talk about.
ecstatic. I was like,
Like,
send me a million videos.
yeah.
But if you were to see him, I want to FaceTime if time
Yeah.
allows.
So
And
he comes in, you know, the whole room loses their mind, very exciting. And I held up the "we drove 4 hours" sign as he was walking down because I was like, no, like you need to see this. And I think he like glanced over, but he was kind of
Yeah.
giving love to the other side of the auditorium. He does. I thought it was going to be the Q&A. So no offense. This is why I FaceTime you, Val, because I'm like, okay, we got like 15 minutes of just him answering.
Right. And
Like, we have
also
plenty
he
of
just
time.
started, mind you, I am 7 hours ahead of you. So
Yeah.
I was like, it was like Christmas morning where I was like just waiting for the FaceTime, waiting for it. And
But I
then
hadn't like told you like before. I was like, I like that's not gonna
yeah,
happen.
no, the
And then I
text
just
was,
cold call you.
I'm literally in a movie, is what you said. I'm literally in a movie right now. So I was just like scrolling my phone, like waiting for more videos to come out. And all of a sudden I get a FaceTime and I'm like, obviously I'm answering.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it's Mr. Timothy
It's so funny
Chalamet on
because
the
at
screen.
first I remember your face, you were like, you were quiet and then realized it was
kind
him.
of like waiting for it to clear up. But
Yeah.
it looked like a Q&A where he was just
Yeah.
sitting there talking.
Yeah. So he was like, you know, happy to be back where it all started. I feel a connection to Minnesota and Bob. It's like psychosis. See you after the film, anyways. And
We'll get back to that.
we'll get back to that. And then he leaves. Like he goes to head out. And you know, when he came in, he was kind of high-fiving people on the way in. So now he gives the love back to our side. And like, Nick, do you want to
take it away?
So I filmed the full like him coming down to him
which is
leaving
literally
all
like 57 seconds. It's like
Yeah.
him coming in, him saying his intro, him leaving a minute, like literally.
Yeah. So I was just holding my phone with one hand.
Well, I'm on FaceTime with Val. I should have screen recorded it.
Yes.
I'm like miserable I didn't, but sorry.
I was screenshotting like crazy. My face looks insane. It's pure joy, pure
You will be
happiness.
seeing this. Come on.
I'm gay, so I talk with my hand, you know, and I'm like, I was like, we love you, we love you. I didn't realize until watching back that he says love you too. So gag
And
to that, gag to
this man
that.
grabbed your hand.
Then he
grabbed
grabs my
held
hand.
hands.
That's not even out. Like it's literally just like here because I'm like talking. And he grabs it and is holding onto it for like the rest of me and Cam talking to him, which I mean, we don't get a like a conversation. But when you're a star like that, like we got as best as you could for
Well, yeah.
someone who's moving
Well,
and
he's
on
like
the go.
leaving the theater. Like it was not like he wasn't stopping to talk, but it was like,
Yeah.
but he did stay, and he did not do that with anybody else. Like, I think
Yeah.
No one else.
I do think he like not like I literally think he saw the sign that said we drove 4 hours and was like wanting to
Okay,
give us
I'm gonna
something.
obviously
Like,
gonna get my
honestly.
time.
Yeah, like
No,
I
I-
honestly
Like I
think he
should
was
say
like,
something.
yeah.
I think the
So
same
like
thing.
yeah, go ahead.
So I'm on FaceTime during all of this.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell the crowd, tell the people the interaction. So he holds Nick's hand.
Yeah, so he
and
grabs
what does
Nick's
this say?
hand, and Nick is like, we drove from Iowa. Well, no, you go, Timmy, we love you. And this is funny too, because we found a video from another, like somebody across the room, and you can hear us yelling, Timmy, we love you. Like, he was so loud. No wonder he stopped. But we were just so like excited, it was hard. And he was like, so you were saying, Timmy, we love you. Grabbed your hand, love you too. We came from Iowa. And he's like, thank you for coming.
Big drive.
Yeah, big drive.
I think he's
Like, we
like,
drove 4
nice.
hours.
Thank you for coming. Big drive. At the same time, I'm being like, it's a 4-hour drive. We drove 4 hours. He's like, big drive. And then I'm like, Timothée, because this is a gag. I've met Timothée Chalamet before. I met him in 2019 at McDonald's in Cannes, but I did not like get a photo with him. I was like far. Like, I did not approach him at all because I didn't want to bother him. And I was like,
Timmy was getting those spicy nugs, that's for sure.
yeah, and I was drunk out of my mind. So I was like, love you, Timmy, whatever. But since then I've been haunted that I like did not have it on footage. So then I'm like, Timmy, I met you in 2019 in Cannes, and he goes, fuck yeah, and then I'm like, at McDonald's, baby, and he goes, oh fuck yeah, again, and then leaves. But he's like very happy. He's like, oh yeah, oh fuck yeah, like it was very cute.
You guys we'll post the video again to Grid, but it's on our Twitter and on our stories. You guys had a fuck yeah off for a solid 10 seconds.
Because then I yelled fuck yeah, baby, back at him. Yeah.
And also, my favorite part of the video of you guys, since you guys said you're being loud, is that if you look around, this is a crowd of people from Minnesota. Okay, no one's saying anything. Everyone's
that's the thing.
Like,
it's people are kind of clapping after the Q&A's done, but then as soon as I go, met you in Cannes, the room is like silent.
No, the room is silent. And you can hear the pin drop. It's so funny.
It's just us going, fuck yeah.
All you see are the people's like puffers. It's puffers and like a face, and then everyone kind of like, oh,
like,
so we know each other. Did I interrupt something? It's so funny to hear the difference between like, bye Timmy, like love you Timmy.
Yeah, and then
no one is getting up. Like everyone is very, very cordial. It's very polite. And then you hear, I met you in Canada McDonald's back in 2019. Fuck yeah! Oh fuck yeah! It was hilarious to see.
So funny. No, I've noticed.
I know.
I'm
remember.
Kind of embarrassed by how loud and like we were yelling at him, but it's like fine because we were excited. It's cute, I think.
What else was he gonna do? Not hear you?
I think if we were soft spoken, I don't think he would have stopped. Like it's that atmosphere where everyone, like, you kind of have to be the loudest.
You have
like,
to be. You have
hate
to
be that fan.
And he like he was very sweet. He was happy about it. Like that's the thing about him is he's such a nice guy, genuinely.
Yeah.
He always stops for his fans.
We're like when we met
Brandon,
we like screamed at her, and she's like
she got scared.
Like very visibly like terrified of us. But Timmy was like, hi. Like he's just like very like, well, we're gonna take it down. I will say that the hand holding, I did not realize he even grabbed my hand until he lets go of the hand. Yeah. And then I like literally I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, like, someone was holding my hand.
And you can see yourself in the one photo. It's very cute.
I love that you were touched by an angel. You didn't realize you were until it would let go.
No, exactly. Like I didn't.
Also, while all of this is happening, I'm on FaceTime with.
Yeah, I'm seeing all of this. Okay.
Yeah, you're seeing Timmy. Like my camera is just at Timmy while I'm talking to him. Like
I hear the conversation where it happens, where I hear him say like "fuck yeah," "oh fuck yeah." Yeah. I'm just in my living room losing my shit essentially, and then I hear the "oh fuck yeah," and then I hear Kim say, "Did you get that on video?" And then FaceTime ends.
And then I text you, did you hear that?
Immediately I said I heard it. But what a whirlwind of emotions.
It was very fun. And then I kissed Nick on the mouth because we're so excited.
Yes.
Movie starts, Nick leaves because we're like, that's the thing. And I am hard about first 20 minutes of the film did not absorb at all because we're like shaking. We haven't ate. We're like living off this high. Nick, you leave.
So did the movie start like right after? That's such like a mind fuck.
Like,
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So I've already seen the movie, not to brag, but I've already seen it. So this is my second time watching it. So I was like,
Oh,
okay.
what is it like?
I was like, I fully can't like I can't do this right now. I need to like leave. Like
Well, it's also
and
like
so
boring. The movie starts pretty boring. It takes a while for the movie to get going. Well, I'll leave
yeah,
the
like
review later.
Okay, well, maybe I have not seen it. I should say from that. But from what I can assume, it took place in the '60s. Bob Dylan's life was a little boring before he moved to New York.
And
Okay.
we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Okay.
well, I just want the record to show that I love the movie. I adore the movie. So because
Nicholas-
Cameron might have some
Ew.
Cameron might have some different feelings, so that's all I'm gonna say.
ACU is what I think we should replace that in like the cultural zeitgeist for like MCU. I think every time someone mentions MCU, two complete unknown tweets have to come up to like balance the scales. We have to respect the balance.
To be fair, I also like, and Nick has confirmed this, the sound in our theater was awful. And
Okay.
already doing a very mumbly voice. So I'm like, what the fuck is he saying? Like I
Okay.
like I'm
That's
like
fair.
I know titles. So that also
You-
like makes it harder for me to get into the film because I cannot understand the dialogue that's happening.
You said, what are you saying? I can't hear you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Nick,
You know the John Cho tweets where he's like, turn it up to a 7. Cameron and I talked about this, which 7 is very loud. As someone who runs a theater who does the audio,
Yeah.
girl, 7's loud. 7's loud. So I'm like, they fully did a 10. Like it's like sounds like muffled, you know, where it's like so loud that the speakers kind of like yeah, it was like that the whole movie. And the first time I saw the movie, it was not like that at all.
I
Like you
wonder
can
if they did that
crystal
just
clear.
because I think they did that maybe because of like I think John's tweet was stupid. Like, do not do that. Movie theaters know what they're doing. Because now when you say 7, everyone's like, well, we have to do this now.
and
No.
then this theater just didn't turn it down from Wicked, I guess.
Yeah, right. No. Well, yes.
But you got to the lobby.
Yes, I go to the lobby. I'm like texting my friends, my family. I'm like sending to my family. I met Timmy. They're like, "Who's Timmy? Where are
I
you?
haven't
Like,
even
what's
gotten
going
the
on?"
video yet. So I'm just like watching a movie. Like I want to make tweets, but I can't.
So then I like send the video, and they're like, "Oh my god!" I mean, my brother, who literally cares about nothing, was gagged. So I'm like, "That's how you know it's a big gag, if he's gagged." So I'm in
You
the
get
like
water.
right outside the theater, and then I try to get water. They're sold out of bottled water, so I had to go to a fountain.
Wait,
one
that's beautiful though. That's kind of beautiful that everyone was so thirsty for Timmy that the movie theater ran out of water.
But they were like,
No,
you can
it's true.
take this cup and fill it up at the water fountain.
I was like, okay, I guess. And so I went.
Okay.
And there was
So
like
we're
some
poor?
I mean, there were some
Wait.
people in like Timmy's group, like people that were like with him in the car, like sitting on these steps by the water fountain. And one of the guys who we found out his
It was
name, I
either like
forget his name.
Aiden or Julian, I think, are the two guys, and one of them had like the camcorder.
Oh,
and
his like photographer. Oh, so he was the one
they're
who
like
posted
they're like
the
his
photos.
friends.
Then.
Yeah. I think it was Aiden who.
I think so. It was someone in his group. I'm pretty sure it was one of the
One
two
of his
them.
close friends who was like had the
well, it was the one who took the photos that he ended up posting.
Yeah, but
yeah,
there's two.
he did not have the camera with him, obviously, when he said this, but he complimented my sweater. And I said, thank you. But I'm still like, I can't even like
You like
discuss
where you
with
got
anyone.
it from or something, right?
Oh yeah, and I was like thrifting.
Which is just funny to me that Timothee Chalamet's good friend is like, I like your sweater. Where did you get it?
Oh my god, I love.
Yeah, very funny.
And then a girl came up to you too, though.
Yeah, a girl from either Searchlight staff, I think.
Did she have the complete unknown lanyard on?
Yes, she had the lanyard on.
Yeah.
So she was like, I saw your interaction with Timmy. I'm so happy for you. That's amazing.
Aww.
And I was like, I feel kind of bad because I was kind of just like, yeah. Like I'm like, I can't function right now.
Well, because
I'm
you can't like process it yet. Because you're like, I have to.
And the movie's still like going on. Like
yeah, exactly. It's still happening.
Going. So I'm just like, okay, yeah. I come back to the theater, but I leave like probably 2 or 3 more times because I keep being
3
like,
times in total.
Yeah, I kept having to pee. I've seen
Well,
the
also
movie
we had just drove like
before.
4 hours and like
you've seen it before. Yeah, you're in fight or flight.
Yeah.
I'm tired. It's a lot, and I'm just like I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I did leave once because I also had to pee, and when I left, there was a girl sitting outside our theater, and I could tell, like, on her phone, she was like watching, like, I could hear that it was Timothée, that she was like watching videos. So I came back in and I told Nick, and I'm like, I wonder if they're doing like a vlog or a video diary thing. And then they did. Searchlight has been posted video footage from it, but I'm thinking that there's even more where it's like a direct Timmy talking to camera vlog that she was like reviewing the footage from that day. So exclusive here.
Oh my God, yeah, you hear it here first, watching this space. Oh, that'll be a cute, once they do a ride release, probably they'll release that.
So then the movie we watch, and I'll do reviews in a minute, but then when it's done, we like expect him to come back for the Q&A, and he was like, see you later. But people just start leaving. So I'm like, what's going on? And there's maybe like 6 of us left in the theater at that point, and I go and ask staff, because that's clearly working well for us.
The move, yeah.
And I was like, is the Q&A happening? And she was like, that was like just for press. So basically what I think happened was, we obviously saw he did like the fireside chat, and then he did do a press Q&A where he had like the proclamation. So I think they had the press Q&A, and then they had like maybe 2 screeners for fans. And that's what he was giving out tickets to. So I think like most of the people on our screen were like fans or people invited, but they were not promoting that. So people have like asked me like how we got in, and I'm like, because they've been trying to go to stuff in Nashville and Atlanta, and I think it's just like,
you can't replicate it. It was just luck. It's just
luck. But it's nice to me that, and maybe they decided to do it because so many fans showed up, but it's nice that like they even did fan screenings at all, I guess. Like, I think it's very sweet.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it was nice that I don't know, like it's just like, once again, like this was not the studio's idea.
And then he left, and it was again a very big crowd. He snuck out kind of the side entrance. We didn't get a very good, but
wheels up to Nashville.
And there was like some of the people, like one of the girls there was like yelling Kylie, like, so it was like there's some people that I was like, girl, get out. But
you said Stormy baby, but like not right now.
No. And then we
not right now. Time and place.
And you did it at my birthday party, and you did it at a complete unknown Minnesota screening.
Exactly.
No.
I will say he did make it. We found out while we were driving home. He made it to Nashville before we even made it back to Iowa.
Left Minneapolis, made it to Nashville, made it to his hotel room before we even made it back home. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
And we said, maybe PJs are good.
Yeah. And then I threw up in the morning.
From just excitement and just
I also like had a gas station hot dog at like 2 a.m. So like
the only thing open, was gas station food. So we were kind of like,
Cane was open, but it had a huge line, so it was not worth it.
Yeah,
because it's the only thing open. Oh, I'm not gonna miss that when I go back. Well, that would beautiful story, and like happenstance. And this is a tale about following your gut, meeting your heroes if they prove only when they prove time and time again that they are good people, to fans at least, and that sometimes you just gotta find someone to drive 4 hours with you.
I know. I keep kind of giving Nick a hard time since he didn't want to go. And I mean, I think if we did not get into the screening, I think we would feel very different about everything. But I think it's like, I mean, we both really wanted a photo or video, but I think what we got is like perfect. And it's like human desires always to want more. But
of course,
I think it was beautiful. And Nick and I have been fans since like 2015, like before I graduated high school, maybe. So,
very early on.
Yeah. I mean, that he's a movie star.
Big.
I really forget that he's not, like, he's so big now that the people in the crowd
not just our boy
fans.
Yeah.
It's that's when you reach that level of fame when everyone's like, yeah, I know Timothee Chalamet. I'm not a big fan, but of course I know who he is. That's the star.
Right.
Yeah, my thing is just very much like, I try not to think about the situation too much because obviously we can't go back, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I just wish I would have said something like more meaningful. Like, we've been with you for a long time. Like, no, we're real fans.
But I think like us driving 4 hours.
Yeah,
gets it.
That's tea. That's
I think
tea.
you can. And then when Cam said like Canon 2019.
Yeah,
I think he can put time and time. He can put 2 and 2 together and be like, oh damn, like.
Yeah.
Okay, what was I doing in Cannes 2019? That's hilarious. That's crazy. At a McDonald's, like Timmy will never go to a McDonald's in Cannes in person again.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Yeah,
I just think, like what I said before, like it's very much like he is at the caliber now where it's like
this will never happen again.
Yeah, this doesn't happen, and like even like what we got is still rare. Like even though it wasn't like a sit down intimate
100%.
conversation, like that's the closest thing you get to like a star.
Yeah,
Like that's
that's kind of what I
it.
think I probably said to you too, that like let us go, is I'm like, he is going, I mean, he's still about to blow up even more.
It's going
I mean,
up,
he
up,
hasn't even
up.
won an Oscar yet.
I know. So it's like in 2019 when I met him, I remember being like, well, that's never going to happen again. Like now he's got
Yeah.
Dune. So then for something like this and now it's like, but still I feel like we're like joined at, like I feel like we're connected to Timothée, where I'm like, we are going to meet him again. Like I feel
But it's like we can only hope, you know, like let's not write this off.
but it's
Also,
just like he is like our generation's movie star, and I wanted to talk about this a bit on the podcast too, but like especially now, like we see the game day stuff that's coming out, and like there is nobody doing it.
Should
like,
be an easy win. Like, why do I want to memorize that monologue that he said?
Oh, good.
Jackson State should be an easy win. Why the fuck do I know
it's
that?
Just like, it's so funny to think about like him in 10 years from now, to be able to have like the interaction that we have and the video that we have. And it's like, that's going to be like an impossible thing. It's not going to be.
Actually,
real.
You want to know something like weirdly cosmic with
it's like
this?
Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't do Q&As like this.
No, yeah.
You don't need to.
Elle Fanning was a member of the Cannes jury in 2019.
In 2019, that's so funny. Yeah.
And you know, how cute is that? Like
well, and also they started Complete Unknown in 2019. So it was kind of like poetic that was the
5 years
started prepping the role.
And like movies like that, like roles like that, they always make me think, because obviously you do these projects in the midst of other projects. Of course, like he did Dune, he's done both Dunes, he's done, you know,
he was
all
filming Dune at the time that I met him too. Dune Part 1.
True. Remember when he was reading Dune? And I think about that subway photo of him reading Dune, literally like every day. But it makes me think, like, okay, that's been 5 years in the making.
Yeah.
What is in the pipeline
that we don't even know about?
Yeah. Like we know about Marty Supreme, we know about that.
But there's already projects you're prepping that have not been announced.
No, right? Or they're in the works, and it's like no script has been there, but like because he's in his producer era now too.
Yeah, because he produced this too, right?
Yeah, like what is he doing now that in 2, 3, 5 years?
Well, Wonka too.
I was gonna say Wonka 2 is coming. Wonka 2 is coming.
That's good.
But I do, and this is something else that I like wanted to talk about too, is like the role. I just think his career is so fascinating. Not only like his team is like, I cannot wait to study them. Like the marketing that he does, like him focusing on these college campuses with young people, like using his celebrity.
Well, it's not even just college campuses, because that's not like.
But then like the sports people too. Like it's
meeting
not
people who know. It's meeting demographics who know they'll like the who know you. They will like the movie that they don't know that they don't know about that. Like Nashville, obviously, city of music. Minnesota, Minneapolis, Bob. Things like that, where it's not just New York and LA, like obviously those audiences.
And I think that's exactly it. And he talked about like like at the Minnesota thing, like in an interview where he was like, it's so lovely that like living in Duluth for the minute that I was in Casino, shout out, come on. But I think he like it was nice for me, like as a Midwesterner, I've been annoyed that people are like, well, I hope he like comes to New York or LA. I'm like, you guys
it's like, shut up. We always do.
It's nice that like there are people in these communities that care about film, that care about these things, and he is coming to these areas and recognizing that. I think that's really lovely. And I don't think there are anybody like doesn't have contemporaries who are doing that.
I mean, we can hope and pray that this paves the way for more celebs to say, well, let's go to the Midwest and promote the film.
I mean, even Chicago.
It worked for Timmy.
Or not even just like the Midwest. I get that. Go to the cities where these stories like affect these places. Yeah. You know, like I'm sick and tired of like,
like look at Twisters. I mean, talk about, I mean, they went to Texas, I guess, but did they do anything in Oklahoma? I don't.
Like, why was Twisters, and we mentioned this on the pod, why did they go to an F1 race? Go to Oklahoma, go to Iowa, go to anywhere on the I-35 Tornado Alley region. You didn't do that. So like there comes a state of like, maybe movies don't want to be back yet, because maybe people don't want to go back to movie theaters. Give them a reason to build that community, and that's a real movie star when he's doing that community, grassroots organizing.
Yeah, and to me, it's like that, and it's his ideas. Like, but that's the other thing where it's like he is such a celebrity. He is so intellectual to think of these things, and the roles that he chose. I mean, I remember when Wonka came out, being like, you have to do a kids movie to get like family household name to become like a celebrity, and it's like he did that, and then he deliberately has spoken about, like, when he was introducing A Complete Unknown, being like, or at the Gotham Awards, being like, as I become the man that I want to be. So he's pivoting away from those boyhood roles. He's amazing.
I also think the reason why, I think it
He's
goes down
humble.
to just being, I think it just goes down to being well read. He knew he
Yeah.
wanted to be an actor because he was like, he knew from a young age he wanted to be an actor, he wanted to be a performer, he wanted to be in the arts. Didn't necessarily know what route to take, so he just learned everything about everything.
But then
And
he's also
that's the
goofy and
difference.
silly and not afraid to embarrass himself, and like made those
Yeah.
YouTube videos selling game controllers, and like
Because he's a performer.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I want to talk about the film now, but Nick, you do not have to stay on for that if you don't want to.
No, I'm gonna finish eating and drive home. But for everyone, go see A Complete Unknown. Elle Fanning's amazing. Timothy's amazing. The movie's very good, despite what Cameron will say in a bit. But thank you for having me on, and I hope everyone gets to meet Demi some point in their life.
thanks for coming on.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
coming to story time.
Of course. Then I'll be on next time we meet another celebrity.
Of course. We're manifesting.
Okay,
Bye.
goodbye.
Yeah. I want to read this tweet that also I think relates to what we were saying about Timothée, about how he came up with the idea to do the local promo. They said this rare kind of authenticity is what makes him so different from his peers. This might lead to method marketing and campaigning, which is much more refreshing than going to late night shows and answering talk show questions. And it's hopefully easier on your mental health, which is exactly what we were saying. Like,
I also think on that note, people forget the reason that we're seeing the lookalike contests because of Timothée Chalamet. Okay, like everything, that meme of the domino falling. It's always been Timmy.
His web connects us all.
His web connect. We were in the Amazon searching for spiders, whatever the line is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Timmy has star quality because he is a star, and people misconstrued quality versus like, okay, we can just take it apart and then put it on someone else. And like Glenn Powell,
you can't replicate it when it's just who you
can't
are.
replicate it. Yeah. There's
That's
quality
so
versus being a star. Star qualities for sure. I think, yeah, Paul has remnants of it, but it's too much too soon.
I love Paul myself. I love Paul, but it's way different.
But like,
and
I'm gonna forget about Rome, and when I think about an indie boy starring in a movie based in Italy, I'm thinking of Call Me by Your Name. I'm not thinking about Gladiator.
Yeah, and I also think like we forget that it's so easy. Like Hollywood, even when we were talking about like trying to compare him to other actors, the industry's young still.
Yeah,
Oscars
like 100 years old.
Anniversary. So it's not surprising that Timothée is a brand new type of celebrity in a digital era too. Like it is new and it's amazing. And I love him. And I think he's going to win Best Actor.
Yeah. I mean, I once again need to say I have not watched the movie yet.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna petition the government, even though that's not legally one of my rights to do here in Spain.
If Searchlight is listening to us, we'll take a screener.
Please. I'm begging and pleading for that screener. Yeah, that would be that would literally be a dream come true.
Please. Well, so I did write my review for the rolling tape if you'd like more cohesive thoughts. But I know like people are curious about our thoughts on it. So as Val sees it, we will react and review again, but I want to kind of provide an overview since the embargo will be lifted by the time this episode comes out. I know very little about Bob Dylan. I've like listened to Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, probably the most out of all of his songs. Like I'm not really a Bob Dylan girl either. I'm a Timmy girl. I love Timmy. And the movie, I haven't seen Walk the Line, James Mangold directed film.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know what I was expecting. I thought this was very much like an Oscar play biopic film, and I don't think it is that. I think at times it thinks it's that, and at times it thinks it's something else. But apparently this film is being advertised, and maybe Val, you can relate to this, as based on the like Elijah Wald book, I think, like The Night That Changed Music Forever, and it's about Bob Dylan going from like folk music to electric sound. And that's what the film kind of focuses on. It starts with him arriving in New York City as a 19-year-old, and then it ends in I think it's like 1961 to 1965. It's like those 4 years. The book is based on Elijah Wald's Dylan Goes Electric, Newport, Sager, Dylan, and the Night That Split the 60s. And like once I found that out, that's what the book is based on, I'm like, oh, like this makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like
there's fables
a biopic.
And Timmy has even
I thought it was
Timmy
like
has said in
Rocket Man,
press.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Timmy has said in press that this is not a
But
biopic. It's a fable. There are some truths to it, but it's a movie. It's an exaggeration of some things.
Yeah. So I think it's important to go in knowing that, because I was like thinking I would get to know Bob Dylan during this film, and that does not happen.
Okay.
I did not learn anything new about Bob Dylan, and that is kind of my diss with the film, is that it doesn't provide any of that info, but I understand that that's like Bob Dylan's whole gimmick, is that he's a very like an elusive enigma.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and at some level, I think the film is like working to that, like almost breaking the fourth wall of being like, we're not letting you get to know this character because that goes against everything that is Dylan coded. But at the same time, a 2.5-hour movie, and you don't understand your main protagonist's motivations at all. So it's kind of hard to invest in it when, you know, he's very.
So what do you learn about Bob, would you say?
So I would like the film focuses on his relationship with Edward Norton's Sager character, Elle Fanning's Sylvie Russo, I think, and then is it Melissa Barboa's? Is that her name?
Melissa Barbaro.
Her as Joan Baez. So it starts with him arriving in New York. There's a lot of stuff with Woody Guthrie that I was like, okay. Edward Norton taking him under his wing. He meets Elle Fanning, they fall in love. He starts becoming Bob Dylan, and you kind of see a little bit of his transcendence into fame, but not explicitly either. Like you kind of don't realize it's happening until it like happens.
It happens.
And this is like when I first got out of the film, this wrote down is I'm like, it happens very slow, and then it's like you're in it. Like you don't realize how quick, like it's a very slow progression, and then you're there. Which is I liked, but in the moment leading up to it, I'm like, this is so boring. Like I turned to Nick like probably an hour and a half in, and I'm like, I'm not liking this film. But the ending, and once it gets going, you really get into it, and it kind of distracts you from everything else.
What year does the movie end on?
1965.
Okay.
So the thing is, the movie ends on the night that Dylan goes electric. So this is my other complaint: is I wish the movie was about that one night. I wish the entire movie was that day in 1965 when Bob Dylan made that decision. Instead, it's kind of this buildup. So that's where it's like, it teeters on being a biopic, of being like, okay, here's Dylan arriving in New York and everything that happens. And then it introduces that is the only like conflict in the film, is this decision. And I'm like, if it was just focused on that, it would be so good. It would be like amazing, because that is incredible filmmaking. It's like so.
But I would ask, like, since it is very Bob Dylan to not give you the answers, and leading up to the big night, would you say, like, did you leave the theater thinking, okay, well now I want to know like what happened, and I want to know more, and I want to like dive into this world of Dylan now? Like maybe that was did you feel that going out of it?
So like when I was watching, like when I first came out, I don't think this is going to answer your question, but I want to say it anyways. Like I was thinking, I don't know why, I don't understand why Bob Dylan is like such a big deal. Like I don't get why we love Bob Dylan so much. Like I get that he's like, I don't get why, like I love his music, and I get he's a great lyricist, but the film does not provide the context of like, why was it so groundbreaking? Why was everybody so enamored by him? The film does not provide the context.
So you left that theater wanting to know why? Like you wanted to do some work and figure that out?
No, I don't personally want to do work. I wanted the film to do the work for me. Like because I don't feel invested enough in Dylan to care. Okay. So the film like this is basically how the film flows. It'll be like Edward Norton telling you about why Bob Dylan is cool and being like, wow, this kid's amazing. Concert scene, amazing. Concert scenes, killer. Timothée sings incredibly. He's amazing as Bob Dylan. Cut to Elle Fanning talking about how incredible Bob Dylan is.
Yeah, right.
Big scene. Cut to Joan Baez telling us how incredible. Like they use those three characters to provide exposition for the plot, instead of
Okay.
ever using Dylan like as a character really. And then it'll just be like scene, music, scene, music, scene, music. And the musical sequences are so good. Like it's like basically a concert film of like the movie is basically here's Timothée Chalamet singing Bob Dylan for 2 hours. And I'm like, I'm
You
sad.
said
I
I'm
love
sad. Yeah,
that.
I'm like,
It's
that
the
sounds
stuff,
like my,
it's the stuff in between that I'm like, this is not a
it's
movie.
a
This
jukebox
is not really
musical.
doing anything. And like I'm still confused about like his relationship with Joan Baez. I'm like, well then I almost you know what
Well,
movie I
honey,
keep
I'm
thinking
telling you right
about?
now, even as a Bob Dylan fan, I'm still
I
confused
want to
about
see
his
that movie. I
relationship
want to
with
see the
Joan.
Joan Baez movie.
I'm still confused about that whole thing too. Dylan can't even tell them story because then he's an unreliable narrator as well. That's the
Yes.
whole thing. And
Yes.
his own life.
And I think that's good. I think that's good. I
You
just
know?
don't think it
Yeah.
like works as a film. Like I I respect what it's going for, but just like as an audio member, I'm like, but I know like that's what Nick loves about this film. All of my complaints are
And
things people are really
I'm
into.
hearing this. I'm holding space for it.
Yeah.
And I just need to my rebuttal right now, because obviously I don't have like, I can't say this eloquently because I haven't like seen it, but my rebuttal right now is my senior quote in high school was, all I can be is all I can be is me, whoever that is. So that's Bob Dylan. Like that, I think that's why this movie kind of doesn't make sense, because Dylan doesn't make sense. But does he sound good?
Think like
yes.
the movie like has that essence to it. And I think if you can just like go for the vibes, you're gonna love it. You're gonna have so much fun. I think that's what Nick did with it.
And that's why it's a Christmas movie, maybe. It's like a vibe movie. Like,
it's very much a vibe film. But I think that's like not like it just didn't work for me. But I will say like the ending when you're waiting for him to make the decision if he's gonna go electric or not is so good, shot beautifully. The sequences, like his singing is amazing. Timothée is, I think, incredible in the role. Like, especially because I had just met him and I still like was able to believe that this was Bob Dylan on my screen. Even though I'm like, this man is like in my same room, I still like was able to, because a lot of times I'll watch an actor and I'm like, okay, that's Meryl Streep, you know, like Bladder, I'm like,
sometimes you remember that they're acting.
Yeah, but this I never had that. He's really good. He sings so many songs.
I mean, I need that soundtrack on vinyl. I want to pre-order it.
Yeah, no, I think you should. I think it's worth it. I'm excited to be able to download it. So I think like his performance and the musical sequences that happen quite a lot. I think they said he sang like 40 songs. I believe it.
That's crazy.
That's what's worth the film. Like that
is.
But that's
I love that.
It's
like, thank you for
doing for best actor, not best director. Like that's it perfectly.
So my question is, and we're recording this the day the Golden Globes nominees came out. What's this Edward Norton hype?
No, so I don't hate it. I think Nick hates it. I think he's fine in it. I think I think Edward Norton is good at being like Sager is very much just like overbearing kind of father figure type thing. I think he feels a little bit of ownership over Dylan. He's kind of controlling. He doesn't want him to go electric. And I kind of think there's something icky about Sager that Edward Norton captures. Like there's something that I don't like you. And I think he does that, whether it's intentional or not. Like it's just something about casting Norton as that character. You kind of feel a little slimy. I think he is good, and he is in the film a lot. I think Elle Fanning is really good too, but like Adam said, all she does is cry over Bob Dylan the entire film. Like those three people are not characters outside of Dylan.
And that makes me sad. I mean, it can't all be though, and it is Dylan's film though. Like it needs.
But then at the same time, Dylan's not a character in his own film. Come on.
Yeah. So who is the music?
I think Sager is probably the most. Like I think he kind of get to know the most outside of Dylan, in my opinion. I don't think you get to know Joan Baez or Sylvie outside of.
No, I mean, I also the thing is like me personally, because I do have
kind of like the Tom Hanks.
I wasn't thinking that we were gonna know about Joan or Sylvie, because
I was surprised by how much they were in the film as they are.
Yeah. It's the first Dune Zendaya of it all. It's like, wait, what? I would think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
I mean, I still like the movie. These are just my complaints. Like, I am eager to see it again. I'm eager to watch the concert scenes on YouTube again and fan. I think Timothée Chalamet is amazing, and
so that being said,
fascinating.
he's gonna win that Oscar.
I think my thing is, I think this is a performance deserving of it. I think his campaigning is already incredible.
Genius.
And
Yeah.
I think the Oscars are going to buy into the narrative of Adrian Brody also being nominated against
Youngest,
Timothy.
yeah.
Probably his toughest competition. He being the youngest person, Timothée taking the crown from him. And I also think when we think about like, it's almost like a legacy award to me in some ways, of like, out of the people who have like, who is most deserving of having the youngest best actor winner in history? I think it's Timothée,
and I agree,
because every film that he has builds up to this.
Yes.
Not like,
I also think,
it's
I
his
just think
breakout
there isn't a film. I think it's funny that there isn't a film that he flops. I think people obviously say the flop is Wonka. But the
I think
people
they
who
say the flop is The King, but
oh yeah, okay, sure.
and they're right. No, but
in the grand scheme of things, you have to have a movie with the King in your discography.
But even The King, he's great. You could pick four.
I love The King. I'm sorry, I fucking love The King.
Yeah,
you could pick 10 times.
Every film from Timmy's career where he's the leading man, like supporting, you could pick and say he should have gotten nominated for that.
Exactly. There's an argument for everything. So I do think right now I think it's Adrian's to lose, and I think he's going to lose it, and it's going to be to Timmy.
I mean, I think I guess Coleman Domingo's the other competition, but with the Globes noms, we kind of see Sing Sing being
strong. Exactly.
I think once Complete Unknown comes out and this campaign and narrative continues to build.
Yeah. God, they're so smart to do Christmas. They're so smart to do Christmas. And I think his team
is probably going to be one of the last screeners people see before they kind of go into voting. While Sing Sing kind of came out a little bit ago. I know there's like a lot of hype around Coleman right now. It's just, if they remember like the history that could be made from it, I think. And also he's amazing. He's very good. Like,
he's just great.
I'm not even hyping him up.
It's Timmy. Come on, it's Timmy. If it's not him, then who? My God. What else makes him a
transforms complete. Oh, and I say this in my review, like it would have been so easy, Austin Butler, to do a cheap imitation of Dylan. And
I'm not gonna cough. Austin Butler, you hear that shit? You hear that?
I think you're like, and Timmy sings. Rami Malek won for Boho, and he did not sing. Timmy sings.
Oh my God, he won for Boho. Yeah, he did. The last Oscar before the pandemic.
And so like and I said this to Nick and he kind of got mad at me, but I think he completely transforms as Dylan, but at the same time you still feel that like Timothée Chalamet charm to it.
Which thank God, I want that.
Which is what you need for Dylan, because Dylan clearly has a charm and a magnetism to him that makes you want to watch him and you're captivated by him. And
who is also generational.
And Timmy can capture that while still being like this very humble, elusive figure. You still can't take your eyes off him.
Timmy can still be, it's what you need for a role like this is who can play the part flawlessly on screen. But then in the press campaign, go back to being the person that makes people want to go into the movie anyway. Like you're like, I don't give a fuck about Bob Dylan. I'm going to go see the movie about Timmy. So I hope that Timmy on the press tour isn't Bob Dylan. Like the Austin Butler route of it all, where it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? If we want to see you as Elvis, we're gonna have 2 hours with you with the screen. And the difference between a movie and a TV star is I go see you. A TV star, we invite you into our home. That's the whole thing. TV will never do TV if it's not SNL, if it's not the Tonight Show. Like he's just not doing that, or the Graham Norton Show. So
he's so respectful and he's so humble, and I think that's everything that makes Dylan
a winner. He's a star, and I'm so happy that like. We continue to be fed. We continue to be fed for his content, and it continues to age like fine wine. And I'm just really happy that
I love the look. I love the mustache.
I love the look. I feel like with him, I don't think I'm too parasocial on this. Where I'm like, I just think he's a really good actor. I really do think he's just really, really talented. I think he's funny, and whatever. And like, we don't have to talk about his like dating life, because I don't really won't care. Honestly, I'm like, the less I know, the better. Truly, could just hurt my feelings. But I don't know. I just hope he's happy, and I love that he gets to do what he loves to do, because there's literal video evidence of him talking about how much he wants to be an actor from the time that he was like 15. And I love seeing people win. I love seeing people's dreams get fulfilled when it's good dreams. It's not hurting anyone. It's helping the world become a better place. I mean, he's introduced me to a lot. Yeah. I don't know. I think he's great. But
there's one more thing I want to say about Bob Dylan, because I think this is fucking hilarious. So I'm like watching this movie, which of course, yeah, he's an unknowable figure. The movie's called A Complete Unknown. And I'm like, damn, Dylan, like clearly, like I felt very seen by his character. Like I was like, damn, he don't know anything about himself, or he knows
kind of hates his hometown.
He doesn't want to be perceived by others. He wants to go, but he also desperately wants to be known. Like he doesn't know himself, but he also wants to be known. But then when he's known and seen, he hates it and he has to go against it. And I literally turned to Nick. I'm like, I think he's a Gemini. And we looked it up and he is. And I said, it makes so much sense. Like, no wonder I want to write about this. Like, I felt like I was like, this is me. I felt so represented on screen. And then also, of course, he has a Nobel Peace Prize in Literature, the first musician to do it. He's a Gemini baby. All the Geminis know how to fucking write.
You can't touch his pen. Period. The man's pen flames.
You know who else is Gemini?
Really?
Kendrick Lamar. Come
on. True. Thank God. Let's get tickets to that tour.
Pulitzer Prize.
Also, yeah, Pulitzer Prize, true. So I know that you don't know a lot about Bob Dylan, so I was going to give you one of my favorite Bob Dylan facts.
I do have questions, actually, kind of. So I have a feeling like that.
Yeah, one of my favorite, like, random Bob Dylan facts is that his son, you know the song One Headlight?
No.
Like, come on, drive a little, nothing is forever. The famous song.
Oh, I do know that. Yeah.
Yeah. That lead singer of the Wallflowers is Bob Dylan's son.
That's fine. And doesn't he also have a son that is like?
I think he's like two sons.
He has two, but one of them is like, Jacob is like.
Jacob is the Wallflower.
That's like a director.
Stop, really? Maybe.
This is so funny. Well, yeah, he directed Kicking and Screaming. That's it. That's so funny. And my favorite podcast, Blank Check, has like a very funny bit where they're like, and I love my son, Jesse, for directing Kicking and Screaming. Like,
wait, let me look up Jesse Dylan.
And then he has another one. He has three, I think. It's so funny. Like one pretty talented.
Not Jesse Dylan, not only being a Capricorn, Jesse Dylan being born on January 6th.
Oh.
So
directed Kicking and Screaming.
So one of the anti-war writers, Bob Dylan, was celebrating his son's birthday when democracy was falling.
Is Bob Dylan single? He is single. Yeah. I think so.
He is divorced though. He's divorced.
After he goes electric, he still makes some pretty popular songs. But when does Bob Dylan...
yeah, honey, that's just the beginning.
When does he kind of like lose his like? When does he kind of pivot from like contemporary famous to like legendary status? Like I feel like for Elton John it's kind of like 80s 90s, you know what I mean?
Well, I think Bob Dylan he kind of already, I don't know, I think it was such a we could do a You're Wrong about a type episode of Bob Dylan's honestly music career, which I would like love to do one day, or love for someone to do at least. But I think what made him so unique is that people were coming of age with him. Mm-hmm. And it was also his music came on the scene during a time when people are like looking for answers and looking for, statements and revolutionary music. So I think he was kind of already ingrained as a legend because of the state of the world, which coincidentally, as I also think what happened with Timmy, when you look at his filmography, it's like, he's kind of always going to be tied with a legendary being good and bad, legendary time in history automatically. And you can never separate the two. Like you can never separate Vietnam War and the 60s and the 70s from Bob Dylan. Even if Bob Dylan fell off in 72, you would always think about him. He'll always be a legend. So I think he kind of fell off though, like technically 80s, because video killed the radio star. And
that's true.
His brand just changed. The world changed, his brand didn't, which is ironic given to the times they are changing.
Well, and now he's been on tour since like the 80s, right? And it's called like
and he has created new music.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney kept getting, when he did solo stuff like Ram On, everything was great. But there came a point where Paul knows, I'm just doing this for the love of the game.
Yeah.
He's fine. And I think I don't know if Bob sold his catalog.
Well,
I don't
this
know
is
who
something
you
else
are.
that I was gonna ask because I was like, I like looked up like, oh, Bob Dylan has a concert like in a few weeks, and I'm like, the whole kind of point of the film is he refuses to sing like "Blowing in the Wind." Like again, he like is like, I'm not singing that song. They want me here, I don't care. And I'm like, so now when he's on tour, is he still like, I'm only singing the new stuff, or has he kind of accepted like his bit a little bit? Because I
I
know
don't know.
Pump is like, I know you've come here for the old songs. I'm still
But
and
I
I'm gonna
will.
sing them, but I'm gonna
Bob
sing new
Dylan,
ones too. Bob
like
Dylan
you
seems a little bit
said,
more mean.
no, like you said, Bob Dylan, what's worse than a Gemini? A male Gemini who thought he should be born in a Chelsea hotel and was from the 60s. This kid's not gonna change. That he's a contrarian until he dies. He's
I'm
divorced.
looking at his set list now, and yeah, it's like, I mean, some of them, it ain't me, babe. I think I know that song, but the rest of these,
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, I don't know those.
Right,
These
right.
I'm not hearing now.
Wait, this is so funny. He got the Medal of Freedom.
Period.
Obama gave it to him. Come on, Obama.
Come on.
2012. Yeah. That was what, his second? Jesus. Wait a minute. That was
Obama also gave Kendrick the Pulitzer.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, Obama was
I
president
love
until 2017 is so crazy. Like, that is actually so wild.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, he got sworn in 2017. That's wild. Like, that's damn.
2008 to then is like, and also pivotal years of just like history, you know, big, I mean, because Facebook.
Social
like,
movements, exactly. Like anti-war and just like pro-youth. And it's the kind of music that.
Well, social media is what I'm saying.
Social media, social movement, everything. So I don't know. I think, yeah, it's very telling. I really look forward to two things in the coming year around music and revolutionary and bringing things back. I'm looking forward to a new generation, people in even our generation, learning Bob Dylan and learning the times.
I've been listening to more Bob Dylan songs than I've ever listened to before.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. And like, I think the times are changing, timeless. And sorry to name the classics, sue me, but like times are changing.
The reason they're classics is because
for a reason. The Girl from North Country is like such a beautiful fucking song, makes you tear up. I'm like, ah! And then also just like, Don't Think Twice, it's all right. Like my wedding invite will be a photo of me and my husband in the streets of New York recreating that album cover. Sorry, you've heard it here first. So I'm excited for like more people our age and younger to like learn this. And I'm also excited not to like heavily pivot, but I'm really excited for Father Figure by George Michael to become a thing because of Baby Girl. So I'm just gonna sneak that in there really quick.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think we have a lot to look forward to in 2025 with like Oscar season and what these movies mean and what this music means, because music and film go hand in hand, and it talks about the culture. Movies make culture, culture makes movies, and this is one of those things where even if you love them or hate them, it's now going to be in the zeitgeist again, which crazy that's going to happen.
And it's just crazy too. Like, I love the industry and like the people who are able to predict stuff long before they happen, where it's like, he started preparing this film in 2019. We actually didn't know if it was going to come out this year, but I think Bob Dylan's music post-election is needed again. And it's like, that was not even, who would have even thought in 2019 when the script was being developed that that's where this would head, and here we are.
It also happened so fast. I think we got like the trailer, first full trailer.
The movie, they did not, like, at the start of the year, we did not know it was coming out this year.
No,
like,
I agree. Like, we got I was looking back on our Instagram highlights.
When we reacted.
If you want to see our first initial reaction, it's on our YouTube, also on our Instagram. It's really funny.
That long ago. I mean, we had
it was July.
Yeah. Crazy.
Like, that's crazy that we got their first trade like June, July-ish. Like, we got our first look.
That's also just says so much about Timothée and Dylan to be able to do that.
Yeah. And I think the Bob tweet, like, that's a Pulitzer Prize winning.
And then Timothée being like, screamed, threw up.
Yeah.
After meeting.
I love that. So they haven't met, which I think is very Bob Dylan.
I was curious, like, if Dylan had any help with the movie, and he did.
He did, yeah.
Basic, but yeah.
And so, I love the idea of, what is he, like 70 now? Like, how old is Bob Dylan?
Oh, he's like 83.
He's 83. Yeah, the idea of an 83-year-old man, only tweeting, but like obviously he didn't miss a great actor. But the exclamation point, the use, I don't know, that kind of just like made me really smile. Where it's like, And he was a great actor. Like, who played me? Who did a great job? Like, things like that, where I'm like, you didn't have to say that.
No,
you really didn't.
especially
And people would
nobody
have respected it because you're Bob Dylan.
Very
And
sweet.
you said it anyway. And I think, like, I don't know, that makes me really, really happy.
Yeah. Also, I will say Johnny Cash, good. Actor who plays him, good. And in it a lot. And so I'm like, what's going on there? I'll read the Dylan Johnny Cash fanfic.
Also, the guy who plays Ruth's brother in Ozark in Bob Dylan's band, Charlie Tahan mentioned. Charlie Tahan press clips. I hope this comes up. I hope your publicist is hearing this.
Yeah,
but I'm excited to see him. Ozark mentioned. It's kind of like my two loves, like Ozarks. Okay, hello, Missouri, Southern Missouri, and then Bob Dylan. Also me, hello, Venn diagram, circle. Yeah, I'm excited.
Love it. Thank you guys for listening. Go see
Go stream like a Rolling Stone by Timothee Chalamet.
But yes.
And go watch
Good Holiday
in theaters Christmas Day.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.